last night. I clicked go live and it messed up again on me. It does it every Sunday. I went live Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and only on Sundays does it mess up. I can't. I use the same techniques. I don't know what that means, but it's crazy. So I'm going to mount this back on the camera here and get to talking with y'all. Oh, y'all are funny. Linda says she just can't get enough of me. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I sure love meeting with y'all. It's fun for me. I'll tell you that for sure. I really enjoy it. So give me just a moment here while I put this up on the holder here. Apologize for that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let me adjust this. Hope everyone's having a blessed day. Just a beautiful Sunday morning here in West Tennessee. We've had sunshine like 4 out of the last 7 days. 3 days of rain, 4 days of sunshine or partly cloudy, and this been great. Since last Christmas, we haven't had that, so I'm not complaining. I just really appreciate the blessing of this sunshine so we can get some things done around the property, around the ridge. Good morning, Walsh Farms. We have lots of people in here already. We had a fun chat this morning. I usually get into the chat about 30 minutes before we start. So if you ever, in the Sunday mornings, if you're ever out or up and about and you just want to chat, we're chatting in here before this goes live. So come on in if you ever have that opportunity. We've got O'Donnell's Aussie Homestead, and he's asking what time is it here. It's 9 a.m. in Central Time in the U.S., and I bet it's evening there in Australia. So good to have O'Donnell's Aussie Homestead with us. Of course, Kevin from Lazy Pond Farms here, my moderator. Lauren N, my moderator, she's here. Chad, 5L4H Ranch and Bees is here, and he's in South Dakota. And let's see that Matt Payne, the Payne family's here. Hey, good morning, buddy. And let's see who else. Linda Wall's here. She's from here in West Tennessee. Appreciate her very much. Logan Kidder with a morning super chat. He says, "Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful day." And sure is, Logan. And I appreciate that. And this is we're going to make sure that any super chats that come through go to good causes because we sure appreciate it. In this morning service, we need to make sure that people are taken care of. So thank you very much, Logan Kidder, and I will remember that for our next live as well for our super chat shout out. I sure appreciate that. Let's see here. Make sure I'm not missing anybody that's coming in. Lauren is doing a great job as usual, putting the links to all the people that come in. And Lauren was so tired from yesterday. They had a lot going on at the farm, and she didn't feel well last night. And she's having some health issues as well. You know, so pray for her and thank her very much for all she does for supporting people's lives. She's a wonderful moderator, and again, I hope Lauren is feeling better. She's bearing through it right now. She's helping us out today, so thank you, Lauren, so much. Come on in, everybody. We're just getting started here. I kind of teased everybody last night about what today's lesson from the Ridge would be, and I had a second thought. It was going to be, do you feel out of control right now, and in how God is really in control and all that, but I decided to put another lesson plan before that one, and it kind of goes with it. Today's lesson plan, I think you saw from the thumbnail, is waiting on the Lord, and I think it brings a lot to what we've got going on right now, and it's been that way through time, through the ages. But this is our life. This is the lives we're living right now, and how does waiting on the Lord affect us? Last week we talked about eschatology, the end times. But there's so much to look forward to. I truly believe there's so much to look forward to, not only in the kingdom of God in the future, but in the kingdom that He's created here for us on earth. I know it's turmoil out there. I know there's a lot of pain and suffering and strife. But again, God created us perfect, and we've only made it bad. So we can have joy and happiness here on earth while we're here, even with all that stuff going on. Just the look of my granddaughter's face, the look of my daughter's face when she looks at my granddaughter, I get joy in that. When my wife catches a big trout and she's in our happy place, I get joy in that. And those are all gifts from God. So even though we're going through some things right now, there's still joy to be had out there. So today's lesson is waiting on the Lord. There's so much to learn from it, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I'm going to do a lot of reading. I try to read to you and not just from paper. Today's lesson is a little difficult. So I'm going to try to take breaks and pause and look in here. And I think we're definitely going to split this up into 2 parts because it's a long lesson. And I want to make sure I get it across. So it's waiting on the Lord. And then I think on the 3rd week, we'll get back to that. Are we in control? Is God in control, or have we lost control, that feeling of being out of control? So I think it really progresses. Waiting on the Lord, what we're going to learn over these next 2 lessons will set us up for who's in control and who should be in control and how we should feel about that. I really didn't want to jump in that today without a preposition or a background study of where we should be on that. So, good morning, Amy McFarland, the Off-Grid Empath. Good to see you this morning. Again, Matt Payne's here, the Payne family. Castle Hives is in the house. Good morning, Castle Hives. Let's see here. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. D Gads, that's Jason's mom. Is Jason in here? I haven't seen Jason yet this morning. He's homesteading Northern Michigan. We had a wonderful time last night. Good morning, D Gads. We had a wonderful time last night celebrating not only RidgeLife getting 2,000 subscribers, but D's Beyond Blessed and Homesteading Northern Michigan getting 200 subscribers. That was so fun. I was so happy for that. We gave away 2 $50 Amazon gift cards. We gave away 2 T-shirts and just had a good time. And I hope we have a good time today because, Lessons from the Ridge is a fun thing. I mean, it's communing with our Lord and Savior while we're communing with His brothers and sisters here on this chat and just having a good time. So let's not make this deep and too thoughtful because, I'm not a deep and thoughtful guy. Really, I'm not. Chad says he's at 140 subs. And Chad's got a good channel. I like his content. He's a lot of things going on there. He's got a couple other things besides bees too. So don't just think he's a bees channel, which is nothing wrong with bee focused channels. Some of them are just, I love them. I watch them all the time. But Chad's got some cool things going on in his family too. David Hotelling's here. Hey, David. And he just broke 150. That's right. Good job, David. Awesome. Yeah, make sure you go pick up David and Chad over there at the 5L4H Ranch, and of course Castle Hives. I don't know if Baddest Bees is in here yet. I got some bee friends, and I'm learning a lot from them. Just like my trapping friends. I've learned so much from my trapping friends. I'm learning some from my bee friends. As soon as I get my garden in, my garden friends are going to be really valuable to me. Of course, you all are valuable to me now for sure. So. And Logan Kidder, good to see you, brother. And let's see, Walsh Farms is telling everybody hey, and Logan Kidder is telling everybody hey, and O'Donnell's Aussie Homestead is having his evening meal probably, because it's a lot different time than it is here in West Tennessee, United States. Sonny's Place is in the house. Good morning, Sonny's Place. Ramsey Country, good to have you, Ramsey Country. Awesome, this is awesome. We have 16 people in here, 7 thumbs up, and we're going to be talking about waiting on the Lord today. And I don't want to get too deep. I want to just throw some Bible verses out there, discussion on it. Y'all be discussing it too, and just be going back and forth with whatever y'all got going on. That's fine. As I yip yap, if I miss questions, my moderators hopefully will shout out to me. Of course, Kevin, my phone is my camera, and on my laptop is showing me my chat down here. So if Kevin, if something happens, you've got me on Facebook Messenger. You can do something, say, hey Tim, people are asking this, or hey Tim, you just jack that all up. Kevin can message me and I'll see it pop up on my phone, and I'll get brought back to reality. And I need to make sure Lauren has me on Facebook too, and basically all my moderators need to have me on Facebook so they can message me, because popping a message up gets my attention really more than the chat over here. Of course, those super chats get your attention too. So if Kevin, if you need to get my attention, I'm just jacking something up, put a $500 super chat out there, I'll see it for a while. The bigger the super chat, the longer it stays up. I didn't know that. I gave a guy a super chat one time, and mine was up there and somebody else went away, and I found out that the bigger the super chat, the longer it stays up at the top, and your highlighted, names up there. Again, I'm just kidding, but don't do the super chats. If that's, I'm just playing. You can get my attention some other way. That's not a reason for it. Yeah, $500. And Nate 408 the other night, when I said that $500 joke about the super chat, and he did the $5 super chat, 5.00, it looked like 500. He had me for a second. I was like, dude, that's crazy. So thank you, Nate 408. That's so funny. All right, so y'all keep chit chatting and everything. I would like, while I'm talking here, because I'm gonna go back and look at these. I'd like everybody to, if you don't mind, just tell us what state you're from. I don't really need to know your address or your phone number or your social security number, um, but tell us what state you're from. You can tell us the city too if you want. Like I'm from West Tennessee near Memphis. Don't live in Memphis. Luckily, I work in the city of Memphis or out in the outskirts in a steel mill. Um, but I'd like to know, what state you're from at least, and if you want to tell the general area of the state, that's really cool. Because I really like to know those things, about, the demographics of the people who are in our things. Hey, J Dub Outdoors, what's up, man? I'm gonna put out some more bone sets this week. Those things are so awesome. I think I'm gonna do some pipe dreams too. But I got some really cool bones I'm gonna try out. I found an old deer bone. I've got a Boston butt bone, and I got another bone. I'll leave it for the video. It's pretty cool. So, everyone's putting out some stuff, their locations. That is so awesome. Did I see England pop up in there somewhere? I know we've got Australia. I thought I saw an England. That is so cool. Awesome, 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 y'all. Just keep putting where you're from. I really want, when I go back and look at these, I really want to see how spread out the word is getting. Because isn't this a cool medium to get out the word of Christ? Just to fellowship with people. There's no way in the world I probably would have met, maybe more than one or two of you ever in my lifetime if it wasn't for this YouTube channel. So I want to thank God for allowing this opportunity to get to know you all, because I'm sharing my heart with some of these things, and a lot of you are sharing your heart as well. And those are things we would not have been able to do without the YouTube platform. So thank YouTube for at least giving us this opportunity to not censor this speech. This is really good. They do censor a lot of things, but they haven't censored this, so that's good. I want to make sure that everyone gets to hear the word. I feel called to do it on Sundays here, or just any time that that I feel called to do it, I'll do it. But excuse me. David wants to know if we can pray for the ranchers. His family in Missouri is really hurting 2,500 cows they can't sell. And there's pig farmers the same way. You heard about this meat shortage and stuff. But there is so much out there, but the processing houses are shut down because there's no workers, because they can't transmit the thing. So food shortage. Now, I don't know if there's a food shortage yet, but just we need to pray for all those people out of work, for sure. So yeah, make sure you're in your prayers. You remember the transport. Excuse me, everybody. Excuse me. I apologize for that. Remember the transportation workers, the healthcare workers, the grocery store, the restaurant workers. Again, I said truckers, didn't I? And then the ranchers, the farmers. Remember those that that are drastically affected and continue. The ones that are drastically affected and continuing to work. We're all affected. This whole country is affected, but those people really, really, really need our prayers for sure. All right, yeah. Keep loading your incubators. Keep maintaining your flocks and your livestock, and people like us will be there for our neighbors. Chad and Whitney Corgill said that last night or yesterday on their video about helping your neighbors. Hopefully everybody went and watched that video. They had an abundance of eggs, and they packed up a ton of eggs and just went down a country road and started putting cartons of eggs in people's mailboxes. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's just a really good neighborly thing to do. So, good stuff. Hopefully my voice don't go out here. This is kind of crazy. I got a lot of reading to do, and or a lot of talking to do, and I need a voice for that. So, again, Real Life with Michelle. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. And as people come through that you haven't put down where they're from, what state, or however, make sure my moderators ask them that Tim asked to put down what state you're from, or what area of the country, or what country, or what province or district, or however your country works out. Because I really want to go back and watch this. I want to see where everybody's from, just so I can get a grasp of how far we're reaching out here. So what we're talking about today is waiting on the Lord. And no better way to start than Psalms. This is Psalms 27. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord. And that's really what you saw my thumbnail. It said take courage. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord. And the Lord moves. The Lord moves in His ways. We know that. And no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what strife is here or war is there, famine, political unrest, we're all to wait on the Lord, because he has direction in all things. Now, he leaves a lot of things up to us. The wars, the famine, those things were all caused by man, man's disobedience. God didn't, intend for those things to happen. He knew that's the way man would work it out. But he gives us the opportunity to fix things. And he intercedes, he does. God's providence means when he intercedes. Okay? We have God's will and we have providence. And God set things into motion and we jacked it up. Okay? Now every once in a while he'll providentially get in there and say, "Whoa, remember Noah and the flood? You remember Pharaoh and all the plagues and all that stuff?" He had to intercede. He had to show his point. And I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know if this is just a natural phenomena or if there's a point to be made in this, but today's lesson, waiting on the Lord, should help us reflect on whatever is going on, whether it's this decade, next decade, or decades in the past with polio or the swine flu or Lou Gehrig's disease or cancer or whatever's going on. Waiting on the Lord, these lessons today are going to give us points to consider and how we proceed. Let's see. Make sure I haven't missed anybody. Section 8 outdoor. Make sure I'm going to clear that up there. I got some pop-ups coming up in front of my thing. So Section 8 outdoors. Good to see you. Good morning. Not good new friend there. Awesome coming back. I love it. Everyone's telling us where you're from, what state, what country, what province and stuff. And I don't want to know your address, your phone number, your social security number stuff. Just I like to know where you're from generally. So, the next verse out of Psalms is, "For evildoers will be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord, they will inherit the land." And as a homesteader, I kind of want to inherit the land. I want the land, this blessing from God, to be something I can work, I can be a good steward of. And he tells us who's going to be those stewards by saying, "For evildoers will be cut off, but those who wait on the Lord, they will inherit the land." And we know about from our study last week in eschatology of who's going to inherit the earth. We do. We're going to be called up. We're going to be with him. Coming back. 1,000-year reign. New earth. It's just going to be wonderful. So we will. I promise. Let's see what else we got going on here in the chat. K&R Destinations. K&R Destinations. Good to see you this morning. We're talking about waiting on the Lord. We start off with some Psalms, and we'll keep on going here. So, speaking of waiting, so y'all been in waiting rooms, and that's a land where it seems where time stands still. It seems in a waiting room. It's where life is put on hold. You've got your life. You're working. You take the half a day off. You go to the wherever, and you sit in the waiting room, and time stands still, or our lives stand still in the waiting room. You go to the doctor's office and it feels like hours have passed and it's only been 20 minutes. When you're in the waiting room, it seems that progress comes to a screeching halt. You're at the mercy of someone else. So one of the most important exhortations of the Bible is called waiting on the Lord, or to wait on the Lord. So even though God promises special blessings for waiting is one of the most difficult exhortations of Scripture. It really is. So why is it so hard? It's because as part of our fallen humanity, we are so prone to take matters into our own hands, to follow our own schemes, yet over and over again, we're told in Scripture to wait on the Lord. Man, how difficult is it to stand in line in the queue to get in to Walmart? They're only allowing so many people to get in there to get your groceries and things, right? How hard is it to stand 6 feet from somebody, stand in line, and be patient and wait? Oh my goodness, it's tough. It really is. It's like, I don't need that toilet paper today. I'm going home. This is ridiculous. But when you get home, woo, the wind's blowing on me. When you get home and you don't have that toilet paper and you're scrounging around for some napkins or something, you wish you would have waited, don't you? You wish you would have waited. I know it. Palladian scientist, UFO builder. Good morning. Awesome. Good to see you here. Talking about waiting on the Lord. So, we don't like to wait. And when we think of waiting, we are apt to respond with a pun. Now, this is think this is, I don't know if y'all have heard this before. Weight, that's what made the bridge collapse. Boom, boom, that's a dad joke there. Weight, that's what made the bridge collapse. W-E-I-G-H-T, not W-A-I-T. I know that's a bad dad joke. So, of course, that's weight, right? W-A-I-G-H-T, and not W-A-I-T as far as to wait. But then these two words, wait and wait, are not always unrelated, because one of our needs in waiting on the Lord is the need to cast the weighty burdens of life on Him. The thing that destroys the bridge, the weight, excess weight, 10,000 pound weight load, 19,000 pound weight load, the weight destroys the bridge. And if we wait on the Lord, and when the time is right, we cast that weight, the burdens of our lives on Him, the weight is lifted, and the waiting was worth it. If we don't wait on Him and the burden's on us and we're carrying the baggage around, it's not a joyful life. It really isn't. It's a burdensome life, because this baggage we're carrying should not be on us, because Jesus died on the cross for that baggage of our sin. Wow, profound there, guys. I said I wasn't going to get too deep and profound, but we're already deep in it, aren't we? Woo! Kevin says, wait can put weight on your heart. Great job there, buddy. Great job. Baddest Bees is in the house. Awesome. Good to see you, Baddest Bees. Baddest Bees says, must remain faithful. No better days are ahead. That is true. Palladian scientist UFO builder says, the world needs to slow down once in a while and take time to reflect on the Word. That is so true. And y'all need to tell me to slow down occasionally too, because I get excited. I get fired up. Last night, Lauren said, Tim, breathe. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you, Lauren. My moderator, she does a great job. She said, Tim, breathe. You're so excited. You're fired up. And that was just in giving away $50 Amazon gift cards. That wasn't even on something as important as the Word. So funny. Good morning, Baddest Bees. Good morning. All right. So the comment about the bridge expresses our normal dislike for waiting, especially in our I want it now society. Ours is a society that has grown accustomed to immediate gratification. Due to modern technology and all of our conveniences, telephones, refrigerators, freezers, microwaves, fast foods, airplanes, etc., we have many things immediately at our fingertips. Just think of the speed of the latest computer technology in comparison with the computers only a few years ago. The computer I've got, my personal one, oh my gosh, it doesn't even run my editing software. And then my work computer, it barely does it. And it's, and I was issued that this last year. And, the way our phones are, if you tried using a iPhone 5 or earlier, oh my gosh, things change so quickly. So, excuse me, even in our modern age of conveniences, waiting is still a big part of life. We think of waiting, when you think of waiting, what comes to mind? We might conjure up visions of an airport terminal, a doctor's office, the line at the supermarket, being stuck in rush hour traffic. The facts are most of us are waiting for something most of the time. A lot. If you could, 6 to 8 hours of your life a day is spent sleeping. Of your 8 to 12 hour workday, probably 6 hours of it is actual work, doing things. A lot of it you're waiting for this person at work to get done so you can take it to the next step. There's a lot of waiting just in that. There's waiting on getting to work. You get stuck in morning rush hour traffic. There's wait on getting home. You're stuck in evening rush hour traffic. There's wait on dinner. You get home and, the dinner's not ready because something, had to happen, or you've got to cook it. You can't get the seeds in the field because it's been raining so much. You got to wait for it to dry out. You need the wind to blow to dry the earth to get the seeds in. You can't go harvest the deer because you're waiting on deer season. So there's so much waiting going on. Isn't that right? Sorry, I got to clear some more pop-ups here. Jason, Homestead, Northern Michigan, is in the house. Good to see you, Jason. Is Alpine Gulch in here? I thought I saw a reference to Alpine Gulch. Good morning, Alpine Gulch, one of our big winners from last night. $50 Amazon gift card will be coming your way for sure. Let's see here. Castle Hive says, today one problem is that folks want everything now and do not want to wait. They want immediate gratification. That is so, so true. Sunny's Place says, Tim, I'm transplanting my starts next week and will be praying over each of them to produce food for my family and those around us who need it. That sounds like it was lessons from the Ridge recently, Sunny. We talked about that very thing. So that's very, very good sentiment there. That's for sure. And God hears those prayers. I guarantee it. I guarantee He hears those prayers. Oh, there's Alpine Gulch. Yes, you are. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So the facts, again, are most of us are waiting for something. Maybe you're in a job situation that's really, really tough. It's tough to endure, and you're waiting on hoping that conditions will change for the better. You know, a lot of people are furloughed or laid off right now. Maybe you're without a job waiting for news on an application. You know, maybe you were already out of work, and then this stuff happened, and now you're where are you? Because people aren't hiring, in some areas aren't hiring. Maybe you're ill or have a loved one who's ill and waiting for your health to improve or waiting for the word back from the doctor. Maybe you're on a diet and just waiting for that weight to come down. You know, you're waiting for the bonbons to be gone out of the, you know, because you don't want to buy any more and you need to lose the weight. A single person may be waiting for Mr. or Ms. Right. They may be. That's a long wait for some people. Or maybe you are waiting for your spouse or child to become interested in spiritual things. You know, maybe you're unequally yoked. Your spouse or significant other has not received the word, given the gift of the Spirit. And that's a wait there that it can be difficult because unequally yoked couples have strife, have disharmony because the Spirit's in one and the Spirit isn't in the other yet. That can be a hard waiting game for the person who has the gift. Baddest B says he even stores our prayers. Pretty cool. He just learned that recently they are guarded. Our prayers are stored and guarded. That's exactly right, Baddest Bees. Okay, so think about some of those situations. The simple fact is, in spite of our modern age and our dislike for waiting, life is full of waiting. And one of the most challenging exhortations of the Scripture is wait. But waiting, despite our impatience or our dislike for it, is a vital element of life. Indeed, waiting has a number of benefits that we will discuss here in just a second. When we think of waiting on the Lord, there are a number of important questions that need to be answered and understood in the light of the principles and promise of Scripture. Why? Because without these answers, we become like a long-tailed cat scurrying around in a room full of rocking chairs. Y'all get a mental picture of that? A long-tailed cat scurrying around in a room full of rocking chairs. I know y'all have been in that situation. If you've ever been to Grandma's house, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Woo! I'd hate to be a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. That's pretty funny. So we become fidgety, fearful, frustrated, anxious, even angry sometimes because the Lord tells us to wait, and since it has some wonderful benefits, we need to know what it means to wait and how it is to be done. Because anger, fear, anxiety, those aren't things that, you know, God wants us to feel. There's times those are helpful to us, but those are human things, you know. Those are human emotions we place on our lack of faith, really. So some key questions we might ask ourselves. What does it mean to wait? What's involved in waiting? How are we to wait? Who and what are we waiting for? Why should we wait? And how long do we wait? And we're going to answer those questions. This is a long study. We may take it across, you know, two weeks or so. Make it interesting, I hope, because there's a lot of exhortations in here that apply to what we have going on in our lives right now. I guarantee it. Real Life with Michelle says, I prayed for my dad to be able to meet a very special person before he passed away. It took 20 years to happen. It happened, and my dad is still alive and enjoys this person. Real Life with Michelle, that is so awesome. God's timing is perfect. God's timing is perfect. The only time the timing is imperfect is when we intercede trying to think we know best, right? But our prayers allow him to intercede for our misunderstanding, and he places that person in the time that's just right. So thank you very much, Real Life with Michelle. That's awesome. That's a very good example of waiting properly. O'Donnell's Aussie Homestead is asking, where in the States is Alpine Gulch? We asked earlier in this live if everyone can put where they're from as far as state. That would be awesome, just so we can get an idea of where everybody's from. You don't have to give us any specifics about you or anything, just a general location. Tennessee, I'm in West Tennessee, outside of Memphis, you know. Palladian scientist UFO builder says Satan runs the world by way of consumerism in order to keep people running constantly and to take the time away from the word. That is so true, that we are not producers anymore, we're consumers. You know, a lot of the people in our group, you know, do produce their own food, their meat, their vegetables, you know, even some places have produce their own water. Jason, Homestead, North Michigan, is going to be producing his own power soon. But we're a consumer society, and we always want more of that new thing. And that more of that new thing takes us away from the word. It does. It does. So thank you very much for that, buddy. Farm Okie Lynn, good morning, good morning. She's from Oklahoma. A lot of Oklahoma YouTubers. Have you noticed that? At least in our circle here, we've got a lot of great homesteading and outdoorsy YouTubers from Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a very good state. Nero came from Oklahoma, just North Texas, South Oklahoma. Okay, so we're going to answer some of these questions. The first thing we're going to get into is essential factors on waiting on the Lord. Waiting necessitates the passage of time. So, you know, we sit there, how long are we going to wait? And that time is the unit of measure there, how long we're going to wait. And waiting necessitates a time elapse. Unfortunately, it's just a fact of waiting. So when the psalmist wrote, I wait for the Lord, my soul does wait, and in his word do I hope. My soul waits for the Lord more than the watchman for the morning, indeed more than the watchman for the morning. He was comparing waiting expectantly on the Lord to the night guards of the city watch who watched the passage of time in anticipation for the coming dawn when they would be released from duty. The coming dawn was certain, but not without a passage of time. In our I want it now, you know, generation, we must understand and accept the fact that waiting on the Lord always involves a passage of time, just as it did when we wait for the news, for a special TV program, for a plane to arrive, for retirement. Waiting on the Lord inevitably means enduring the passage of time, but it means more, much, much, much more. Okay, so waiting means confident expectation. So there's a time passage, and then we have a confident expectation. The waiting includes the concept of hope. Hope. We have faith, right? The belief in something we can't see, hear, or feel. We know is true, and we hope. We have faith in the Lord, and we have hope for the future. We have hope of what that expectation of waiting gets us. So waiting and hoping are wound together like the strands of a rope. And let me illustrate that for you. When you wait for the inheritance you have been promised, you expect and hope the laws of the land will work and make it available to you. When you wait for the TV news, you are trusting and expecting the TV to work and that the station will be on the air and able to broadcast. It's always there, right? When you wait to hear whether or not you have been accepted for a job you've applied for, you're not only hoping to get the job, you're hoping that your credentials and qualifications are more than sufficient. That you're trusting, you're hoping that those things make the wait effective. So let's compare again. I wait for the Lord, my soul does wait. In his words do I hope. My soul waits for the Lord more than the watchman in the morning, indeed more than the watchman in the morning. When we, like the guards of the city, wait for the morning, we are waiting for more than simply time to pass. We are waiting for the sun to rise and day to break, for the light to replace the darkness and the cold to be replaced by the warmth of the sun. Waiting involves an expectation of something special. Waiting means anticipation, expectation, and confident in hope in something that will take place. Ultimately, waiting on the Lord is like waiting on the sun to rise, waiting expectantly for the Lord's answer to human needs as the sun brings the warmth of the day. We know God is sufficient. We know his promises are forever and true. the only persons whose promises are always fulfilled. Always. Always. God promises you something. It will undoubtedly happen. Maybe not in your timing, but it will undoubtedly happen. K&R Destinations, the place the weather here is too much for us. I need a little stability. Aussie Homesteads, bye everyone, great seeing you all. Bye Tim and Lauren, thanks for being here. Oh, good to have you. Oh, O'Donnell's Aussie Homestead, thank you. Down there in Australia, it's an evening for them. Lauren's saying if anybody needs a link to any of the channels, let her know. She's trying to hook everybody up. Thank y'all. 20 people in here listening, talking about waiting. And I appreciate everybody sitting through, a lot more reading than I normally do. I apologize, but this is some good stuff. It really is. This lesson on waiting. And right now, we're all waiting at home, right? I mean, some essential workers, I do work. I'm only working 40 hours a week right now, and a lot of people aren't even working that. They're sitting at home waiting for this to be lifted so they can go to work. And I thought this really applied. I really did. This naturally leads us to our next point in the third strand in the rope. We had 2 strands. Now we got the third strand in the rope, which adds more and more strength. So you have 1 strand in a rope, and it has a tensile strength of a certain amount. You add 2 strands tied together, and then you get more than double the strength. You get 3 strands tied together, and it just goes up and up and up. It doesn't just +1, +2, +3. It's amazing what working together as a strand in a run of rope gives us so much more strength as a community. So waiting involves expectation based on knowledge and trust. So without knowledge and trust, we simply won't wait. We won't. There's nothing there for us to wait for if we don't have knowledge and trust of it. At least not without the great deal of anxiety. You ever wasn't sure if you're in the right line, and you go up and you see 2 or 3 lines, and I think I'm in the right line, and you get about 15 minutes into this line, you go, am I in the right line? You don't have the knowledge and trust that you're in the right line, and oh my gosh, the anxiety that comes when thinking that you're wasting all your time in the wrong line, until you break down and finally say, hey, is this the line for so-and-so? And people say, oh yeah, you're in the right line. I'm like, oh, anxiety lifted. Now I have trust and knowledge, and I can wait more patiently, that's for sure. Castle Hive says, Tim, my wife and I did the cord of 3 strands in our wedding instead of unity candles. Wow, so much stronger, isn't it? Those ties that bond us together are so much stronger. That is so amazing. That's awesome. Okay, based on the past performance, we wait for the news to come on at 6 o'clock because we believe the TV station will be operating. For many years, they have continued to do so, and we trust the staff to give the news at 6 o'clock. Or we know that throughout our lives, we have seen the sun rise every single day, it's never failed once. Not once has the sun ever failed to rise. And we know or believe, therefore, we can count on it based on its past performance. So we wait for the light and the warmth. But above all, we are expecting God's laws of creation to continue to work. God created the laws of nature. He created all those laws, the physics, the science behind biology, that creation, because no one has ever figured out exactly why. We find out one thing about how electrons orbit around a nucleus, and protons do this, and neutrons and gravitons, and every time we get quarks, we get one more bit of knowledge, and then God has got one more thing that we don't understand. It's just amazing the complexity with which God created the universe. It is so amazing, and we may, if you're the person that wants to ask that to God, and He gives you that knowledge in heaven, it's going to be an amazing thing. Or some of us just may be thankful for when we get there and go, God, your creation is wonderful. Thank you for the time you gave me to enjoy it. Awesome. Okay. So, thus, the emphasis on the Bible is that our waiting is a waiting on or a waiting for the Lord and His loving kindness. At least 28 of the passages that deal with waiting have the Lord as the object for waiting and as the confidence of the one waiting. Again, note the emphasis and the object of the psalmist's confidence. And I wait for the Lord, my soul does wait, and in his word do I hope. My soul waits for the Lord more than the watchman for the morning, indeed more than the watchman for the morning. O Israel, I hope in the Lord. For the Lord here is loving kindness, and with him is abundant redemption, and he will redeem Israel from all his iniquities. And as the watchman waits for the sun, because he knows it's reliable, so the psalmist waits for the Lord even more because he knows the Lord is more reliable than the rising sun. In other words, waiting is fundamentally wrapped up with knowing, trusting, and believing in the Lord and his person, his character, and his promises. So there's so much good in waiting. I know it's so hard for us to grasp waiting as a good thing. But there's so much good that comes out of the waiting. Can you imagine when this world gets out of this thing we're in right now? Because it is our response to this thing. This thing has happened before, and with other situations, but our response to it as a world it has been dramatic. And when we get out of this, things are going to be different. I promise, things are going to be a little bit different. But the waiting will have an outcome that for some will be miraculous, I promise. Kevin from Lazy Pond Farm says, wait makes what you're waiting for have more value to you. That is so true. Because those that get instant gratification don't take much value in it. You ever notice that? When you get exactly what you want, when you want it, it's not as valuable. But man, when you've had to work for something, or you've had to, your work couldn't get what you wanted for, you had to wait on others to get what you wanted. And then when you got it, the taste was so sweet. When you go to the steakhouse and they've got that special corn-fed beef that's cooked a certain way with their certain seasoning, and the line was 20, 30, 40 minutes to get in to sit down. Remember the days when you go to a restaurant? The line was 20, 30, 40 minutes to sit down. Then you sit down and they bring you that little green thing with the little vegetables on top, that salad that's supposed to make you wait for that meat. And it's not satisfying eating that salad, waiting for the meat. They got some bread on the table, but it's not the meat. And then all of a sudden they bring out the meat. And it's so good. That wait made that steak taste so good. If you were to park in the parking lot, walk in, sit down, the steak was at the table already cut for you, and you bit it and swallowed it and got up and went, did I just have that steak? Was that steak there? Did I even eat that steak? That waiting, that anticipation, the mouth watering, man, that was a good steak. Or when you're grilling, and you got your charcoal on there and the charcoal turns gray and you've been marinating your meat overnight and it's seasoned to perfection. The grill is clean and ready and you put the meat on the grill and you close it down. You got the smoker going and then, it's going to be a slow cook. You got the Boston butt in there and then you open it up 10 hours later and you pull it out and it just falls off the bone, the smell, the taste. The wait was so awesome. If you went to a store and bought a Boston butt, opened it up and ate it, you're like, yeah, it's pretty good. But the one you cooked yourself and waited for, man, is that good. Oh, that's good. That's like in the labor and delivery room when your firstborn is being born. 9 months you've waited. And then all of a sudden, you're sitting in the delivery room and it's push, 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 and it comes out slowly. And then all of a sudden, the doctor says it's going to be a little more time. And then, oh, when you get to hold that baby for the first time, was the waiting worth it? Oh my goodness, was the waiting worth it? Kevin from Lazy Pond Farm says, Tim, stop, I'm so hungry now. That Boston, the meat, oh yeah, that was a good example, wasn't it? And Alpine Gulch says, we're marinating here. Oh boy. Baddest Bees is starving. I'm sorry, it's early in the morning. Y'all, hopefully you'll have a good lunch. You're waiting for lunch, aren't you, everybody? Chad from 5L4H Ranch says his restaurant comes from Traeger. Awesome. That's so cool. Logan Kidder says, I've got steaks for sale. Yeah, that's right. Oh, man. If you know a farmer that couldn't get rid of their beef or their pork or whatever they got going on, call them up. Say, hey, I'll take a side of beef. I've got an empty freezer. I'll take a side of beef, and it'll help them out. I guarantee it will. Now, a lot of these bigger farmers just, even if all their friends and family called them, it wouldn't relieve them. But, at least they'd be providing. So, woo, that was fun, guys. Okay, now I got to figure out back where I was. That was so awesome. The ability to wait on the Lord stems from being confident and focused on who God is and what God is doing. It means confidence in God's person, confident in his wisdom, his love, his timing, understanding of our situation and the world we're living in. It means knowing and trusting in God's principles, promises, purposes, and power. Woo! That's what the ability to wait comes from. Knowing those things are true. In each of the following passages, the call to wait and rest is based on God's character and his faithfulness. But as for me, I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the loving kindness of God forever and ever. I will give thee thanks forever because thou hast done it. And I will wait on thy name, for it is good in the presence of thy godly ones. Sorry here, everybody, I had to flip page. For the choir director, according to, let's see, I may back up here. My soul waits in silence for God only. From him is my salvation. He only is my rock in my salvation, my stronghold. I shall not be greatly shaken. How long will you assault a man, that you may murder him, all of you, like a leaning wall, like a tottering fence? They have counseled only to thrust him down from the high position. They delight in falsehood. They bless with their mouth, but inwardly they curse. My soul wait in silence for God only, for my hope is in him. He only is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold. I shall not be shaken. On God my salvation, my glory rests. The rock of my strength, my refuge in God. Trust in him at all times. O people, pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Selah, Selah. Men of low degree are only vanity, and men of rank are a lie. In the balance they go up. They are together lighter than breath. Do not trust in oppression, and do not vainly hope in robbery. If riches increase, do not set your heart upon them. Once God has spoken, twice I have heard this. The power belongs to God, and loving kindness is thine, O Lord, for thou dost recompense a man according to his work. Woo! Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who carries out wicked schemes. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Do not fret. It leads only to evil doing. For evildoers will be cut off, but those who wait on the Lord, they will inherit the earth. That's that verse I started with for my thumbnail, and that was the beginning of it. I'm going to read that one more time. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way, because the man who carries out wicked schemes. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil doing, for the evildoers will be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord, they will inherit the land. And now, Lord, for what do I wait? My hope is in thee. And that's how the verse ends. And now, Lord, for what do I wait? My hope is in thee. Answers the questions, doesn't it? We're waiting for the Lord, and we hope in him and his faithfulness, his trustiness. Make sure I'm not missing anybody's. Hey, Jason Avers, good morning here. We're deep into waiting on the Lord, learning some great things about God. HP Picker, hey, good morning. Good to see you in the house here, everybody. We have 22 people in here, 19 thumbs up. It's been a wonderful, blessed morning so far. Beautiful weather, great word, great fellowship. Just love being here with y'all. I get fired up, you know. I do get fired up. Okay. Make sure I'm not okay. But when we're thinking of waiting, we often face the question, what am I doing during the waiting process? Does this mean we sit back and do nothing? Yes and no. Let's consider our next principle. In the fourth strand, we've got 4 strands in our rope now, needed to strengthen the rope, because you can have a center core. This is kind of getting ahead. If anybody's ever had a crane or a lifting device, that cable that lifts a block has a center core that's of a different material than the strands wrapped around it. And you can have multiple strands in that lay, right? But the center core runs straight and true. What do you think is the center core of our strength? If that center core is made of perfect material, what's inside is perfect. the things around it are that much more strengthened and can take pressure, can take bending. If you have the cords wrapped so tight with nothing in the middle, they can break, they can bend, they can get permanent indentations and damage. That center core is a material that protects and strengthens. Think about that, everybody. So, waiting involves a passivity and an inactivity, negatives and positives, things we should do and things we should not do. These negatives and positives in relation to waiting are closely wound together like the strands in a rope. When wound together properly, they give strength, courage, patience, and endurance. So, as to activity during waiting, things we do, doing the right things we are not to do, refraining from the wrong things that happen to us and for us in the process of biblical waiting. These three elements are intertwined and can be difficult to sort out as we go through the process of waiting on the Lord. But basically, they involve careful obedience by faith in several biblical injunctions that are associated with the concept of waiting in Scripture. And we note that the positives and negatives in this passage, which are woven together as part of the waiting process, one must trust confidently in the Lord for them to happen. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who carries out wicked schemes. Cease from anger, forsake wrath, do not fret, and it leads only to evil doing. For evildoers will be cut off. For those who wait for the Lord, they will inherit the land. A Psalm of David, do not fret because of evildoers. Be not envious towards wrongdoers, for they will wither quickly like grass, and fade like the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and cultivate faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desire of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust also in him, and he will do it. And he will bring forth your righteousness as light, and your judgment as the noonday. So there's so much brightness in the trepidation of waiting. There's so much brightness because it reflects what's in us and how we wait. It really does. So waiting involves seeking the Lord. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the person who seeks him. So on the positive side, waiting always means seeking the Lord. When we enter God's waiting room, we are not to just sit as one might in the doctor's chair. Rather, we need to spend time seeking him. This means time in the Word, studying, seeking answers, and claiming God's promises. Time in prayer, praying about the issues, praying for wisdom and discernment. Time in meditating on who God is, what he is wanting to do in us and through us, and on what we need to do by way of answers and direction. Included in his might be our word to examine and to evaluate motives and attitudes, our values and priorities, and our goals and objectives in life. There's nothing wrong with realizing you're in the wrong place for the wrong reason. You're in the wrong line. You're in the wrong waiting room. You're waiting for the wrong thing. Realize that. And through time in the Word, time in prayer, and meditating, you can realize, I'm not where I need to be. I'm not where God wants me. I'm waiting in the wrong line. The thing that's at the end of this line takes me farther away from God. This is the line I need to be. It's a narrow, it's a short, it's a long line, but it's a narrow path. But what's at the end is eternity, is grace, is mercy, is love, is kindness, is joy in the waiting in this line. This line is short and fraught with evil doing. It looks fun. It looks exciting. But joy is in the waiting for the Lord. What am I missing here? David says, Corgills, you have Blue Heeler, Rottweiler, though you will take care of it. Oh, wow. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Lots of good stuff going on here. Awesome. So we're talking about waiting on the Lord. Let me see where we're at here. we're 54 minutes into this, and I know Arkansas Woodcutter's next. I think we're going to end today there. We'll pick back up next Sunday. I think we're having fun here. I hope everybody's enjoying this. It took a lot of thought and effort, and I just really think that it's very appropriate right now. So now the next Sunday, we're gonna pick back up. Waiting involves taking action at the right time. So there's a lot more good stuff here. I promise we're gonna have a good time. I hope I didn't read too much, and I hope I didn't get to not interact with y'all enough. K&R Destination says, the line to the Lord is normally the longer, harder line that will test you more, as the reward at the end of that line is worth every step. That is so true. That is so true. And that line is often a path like this, isn't it? It usually doesn't take you this way and that, like the enemy's path. The path of the Lord has the ups, the joy and the gratification, and then we start to fall back and stuff, and it starts to dip, then it comes back up. He brings us back up towards him, and man, it just narrows and narrows and narrows, but we don't feel the restriction of the narrowing because we're becoming more and more like him. That sanctification process makes us more like him as we get closer and closer to him. When we first get saved, man, you're a wide berth from the Lord, but he has accepted you into his kingdom. And then as you sanctify, get closer and closer to him, you become more and more like him, and that path narrows, but it doesn't feel confining at all. It feels joyful that you're so close, and so it's so worth it. That's right, K&R Destinations. It's so worth it. UFO Builder says, now is the time to claim your rights under the Constitution, First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion and the practice thereof. That's right. Love it. That's so awesome. K&R says, we are hooked on, oh, yes, Tim. It's bumpy and can be scary. That is true. That is true. So awesome. All right, so Arkansas Woodcutter is going live here in just a second. I want to make sure everybody goes over and checks out Holton. I love everybody. This has been so fun. Go check out Holton over at Arkansas Woodcutter. He's gonna have a good lesson this morning, and I believe it's who's after him? I always get between Mama Z. It's Mama Z. Mama Z does hers the hour after him. So everyone have a blessed day. Enjoy what God's given for you. Wait for him. Wait a few more minutes for Holton over at Arkansas Woodcutter, and I hope y'all have a blessed day and just enjoy this. I know I've really enjoyed today, and this is so awesome. So thank you all so much for sitting here with me and passing this morning together. So until next time, is it Mimsy? Mimsy's Garden is after. Okay, thank you, David. Mimsy's Garden, not Mama Z. Mimsy's Garden is afterwards. So y'all have a blessed day and go Ridge Life.